Hey, welcome to another episode of the Screen Crusader podcast. This is Tex-Mex Morty, your host for the day, and we got a lot to talk about. We got quite a bit on here. Let's see, go ahead and bring up the bulletin board for the day real quick. All right, so we got that set up, and so just after our episode finished airing last week, literally the day after, James Gunn blessed us with being able to show the first chapter of the new DCU. So we got that as the main topic. Let me go ahead and roll in the rest of the panel that we currently have. All right, let me see. All right, so joining us today right now we have Mr. Johnny Joestar. What's up, man? How you doing?
Hey, pretty good, man. Just another day in Geeksville, so I'm ready to talk about whatever it is that we need to talk about, especially with this DC stuff, because I really just want to get into this shit.
Oh yeah, a lot of exciting stuff. Hopefully, we are all on the similar page, but we don't know. We'll figure that out later. Joining us as well, we have Miss JT. How's it going, JT? How you been doing this past week?
Dude, it's been great. Having one job, especially during the winter months, I'd have to go in because in the education, so that's kind of cool. I will be my best behavior today. Don't get me wrong. I'll be cool, Josh. But if I get
Yeah.
over my head, please just let me know. But overall, I'm good to go for the segment.
All right, excited what you have to say about all this. And oh wait, we actually lost him. I was about to introduce the co-host of the Marvel Mondays and Screen Crusader podcast, Mr. Oyman, but it looks like he dropped. Oh wait, he's back. How you doing, Mr. Oyman?
I'm doing good. I keep dropping and joining, but I'm here for the time being, so we'll see how long it lasts before it drops me again.
All right. And hopefully soon, sometime during the stream, we should be getting Miss Cat back on, since we did miss her last week. Hopefully she could catch up with us on this week. And potentially we'll have our other special guest, Davel is coming back potentially. I know this is
he's playing with some new toys he just bought, so who knows if he's going to join or not.
Oh, man. He said he was going to be here.
He just texted me. Yeah, he just texted me. Toys are more important.
Oh, man, he's our residential DC guy,
What?
Man. I wanted his input on him. He missed.
I got mine
yesterday, so
that's why I'm here.
See? Yeah, as you should. You did it right. But hopefully he could join us. We'll see how it goes. I definitely don't want him to miss a second DC episode in a row, because that would be kind of suck. Because
that's Superman.
Make a Transformers one.
Podcast. Man, I don't know. Oh my god! Yeah. I'd have to get one of my coworkers.
I don't mind Transformers. I'm not like that. Interested in them. Like that.
Yeah, no, I got a coworker who could talk to you your ear off about Transformers, and it's like you wouldn't really not expect it from him.
Yep.
All right. Oh,
I really did not. Yeah, I mean, he told me he was a big fan, so I was like, "Damn, that's crazy." And then other Josh, as well, he was like a big Transformers dude. And for his present, he gave him that one little car. So I was like, "Oh, that's pretty cool. Yeah, that's pretty dope." I didn't even know you guys were into Transformers, and we were just talking.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's why he's got like 7 Autobot symbols on his car.
All right, so we got someone already in the chat room. We got Derpy Entertainment. How you doing, Derpy? Let me send you a quick message. How do you? Let me see.
But I will say though, like even with Transformers, like I feel like tried doing like a marathon, but like none of the streams like had them all completed. Which I do plan on doing that, like just watching all of them all together instead of just one, like here or there. Because I'm completely lost with the whole storyline. I really am.
There is none.
Yeah.
There's no storyline. It's just action.
Oh man, that sucks. Cause like I was just like, wait, so they're still alive? I thought Optimus Prime died, and then like in the second one he died already. Like, and then they brought him back with that crystal shit, and I was like, wait, what the fuck is going on? And then they bring in dinosaurs, and now it's like gorillas and shit. And I was like, I think I remember the gorillas, but I was a kid though, and it was like different figures. But I had the cheetah one. No, I'm sorry. I had the Scorpion one. I thought that show was tight. I didn't know he was a bad guy. I was like, that's pretty cool.
Speaking of Transformers, I kind of enjoyed the Transformers. I enjoyed number one, and maybe number two, but especially number one because, man, like peak Megan Fox, like '09 Megan Fox, dude, like,
Dude, yeah.
yeah.
Third one's my favorite. I love the third one.
I want to drink her bath water.
Yeah, everyone didn't like the third one, but for me, that was the best.
All right.
Fifth one was garbage, though.
What? Oh, Transformers?
Anyway.
Yeah, no, my bad. I was trying to type to Derpy while I'm trying to move a bunch of settings on the screen over here real quick.
Oh, no, you're good.
All right, so we'll get started with the news real quick. So we have, of course, out this week, or technically last week, we had we had Wakanda Forever out on Disney Plus now, and available to stream. So if you didn't catch that in the theaters, like myself, you could go ahead and just, if you're a Disney Plus subscriber, go ahead and watch it there. I did. It was all right. It was a little bit really long feeling, but I mean, pretty much on par with the first one, in my opinion.
Yeah, that's kind of how I felt.
And of course, Mr. Oyman, we had you first on the scene, since nobody else would volunteer for it. But why don't you give us like a 10 to 15 second review about that cabin in the woods or something in the woods? I don't remember what the fuck that.
Cabin in the Woods. Well, Cabin in the Woods, directed by Drew Gardner, is a masterpiece of horror cinema. Unfortunately, Knock at the Cabin.
Knock at the Cabin.
Spin-off
there
of
you
Cabin
go.
in the Woods. It was a M. Night Shyamalan movie that I went into expecting some kind of crazy twist, and there was absolutely no twist at all. If you've seen the trailer, you've seen the entire movie. Good thing I could say that Dave Bautista was pretty good in it, and so was a little Asian girl. That's about it.
That's about it. It's a movie you've seen.
It's a movie that exists. It's not a bad movie. It's definitely not a good movie. It's just a movie.
All right, so well, you say it's not bad, not good, but what would you lean closer to? Would you lean closer to like I don't recommend it?
I'll say,
or
no, I wanted my money. I wanted my money back when it was done. I was like, wow, what a waste of time. I've never, I rarely ever, even with old, like as bad as old was, I at least got my money's worth because I got a crazy batshit Shyamalan movie. It sucked, but it at least was crazy. Movie was not crazy.
I don't know, man.
Not entertaining.
That movie I watched for free, and I feel like I need my time back, and I never got that back.
I know, but like, but the other thing is, the Knock at the Cabin was like a 90-minute movie, and if you're gonna be that short, then like try to tackle a subject as big as the world ending. That's the premise of the movie. The world is ending. Someone must sacrifice themselves to stop it, and that's exactly what happens. The end. Nothing else more to it.
Oh.
So yeah,
lame.
Saved you $10.
Whack.
Or I saved you $32 if you go to AMC theaters. Then I saved you $32.
Oh, don't even get me on that bullshit, man. That's crazy. I can't believe. Yeah. So on other news, AMC, who was going under.
Thank you, Adam Aaron. Thank you, Adam Aaron, CEO of AMC, doing such great.
Yeah. No. They were literally just coming out of going under and were helped by Reddit, and then all of a sudden they're like,
Reddit stonks.
Yeah, you know what? Let's go ahead and get any bad idea and just do that so that maybe we could go back down under, because they are. Apparently, they're choosing to not give a discount to front row seats. They're choosing instead to make the more, like the middle, more appealing seats, get a price raise. So if you want good seats, AMC says pony up. That's going to be extra money, as if our seats weren't
bullshit.
already overpriced compared to other chains.
It's because they saw how well Avatar was selling in those middle seats, and they were like, "Whoa, you know what? People are only buying the middle seats for this movie. What if we just charge extra for those seats?" It's showing you. It's literally showing you that your product is inferior by being like, "Oh, look, some of these seats are worth more than others," when you're all paying for the same fucking movie.
Yeah.
It like cheapens their own shit. Like it's not a good look. I can't. That's why I'll stick.
Yeah, no, and at least this AMC, the only AMC that I know that's near me is just as their seats are still from like before they got their nice seats.
Where I saw Knock at the Cabin was at it was like an old rundown theater that AMC bought out. So it was technically an AMC theater, but it was like seats were busted. It was nasty. The screen projection was dim. There was something hanging in front of the screen the whole time. I was like, what the fuck? It was awful, dude.
Yeah, no.
That's why you got to go to Movies 14 in McKinney, man. Like, I mean,
shit, that's a throwback right there. That's a throwback.
Yeah, that was the place.
Yeah, that is.
Fucking
Legacy is good prices.
Yeah, I mean, like, you can't miss that old one, man. You're on the low budget. Everybody would go over there. Man, shit.
That's right.
Sticky floors, popcorn everywhere, but still, fuck it. Like, you're just like, let's watch this fucking movie and talk about it after. Hell yeah.
Family of 4.
Yeah, fuck, dude. Those are the good old days. I miss Movies 14. I haven't gone there in a good while. But I will say the last time I went, it was like, it was to go see, like, what was it? Like, I think it was like Chicken Run or something like that. No. No. That's not it. That's not the name. That's not the name. It's no. It's like, it's the one where, like, I don't know if you guys watch Nickelodeon, but, like, it was Victorious, that main chick, and then she's, like, with, like, a friend, and they're trying to go to, like, a party, and
is it
like
Fun Size?
Oh, Fun Size. There you go.
Chicken Run.
Fun Size. There you go. Something like that. Like, I don't know. And, yeah,
how do you get
shut up.
Chicken Run out of that?
I don't know. It's because there was like a giant chicken, remember, and then it fell on top of the car, and like it started helping it. Yeah, it started helping the car. It was funny. But I will say, like, it was like a double date, and like I just was there with just another couple, and then there was just like one dude in the very front, and like in those like cheesy comedy points, like was laughing super hard, like like it was just fucking odd. But yeah, good times.
Yeah. But also, on other news, so we have the out this week, of course. This one is for this week, not what I just mentioned from last week. But for any Harry Potter fans out there, there is that Hogwarts Legacy coming out this Friday. On
pretty good.
Yeah, it's getting
coming out this Friday.
Reviews. Yep, this Friday. Or I think if you have like the super special deluxe edition, you could get it like this Wednesday instead. But if I remember correctly, it should be this Friday. It's getting good reviews. It seems to be doing pretty well amongst those that were able to get their hands on an early copy. But me personally, I'm not too big on Harry Potter. I've actually never even saw the whole series from beginning to end. I've only seen chunks.
I will fucking kill for this. I'm gonna get paid on Friday, so I'm probably gonna play that. You know what really sucks? What is going on?
What the fuck?
Okay.
The fuck? Someone sniffing. Blowing their nose.
Okay. Well, the thing about it is like, I was so scared that they weren't actually gonna have it for like the Xbox One, and they have like an Xbox One edition for that. It really sucks because, like, honestly, like they're only like now doing for new consoles, and it really puts a damper on mine because, like, dude, I have like over 400 games, and just on my Xbox. And the bad thing about it is, like, most of them, like, I won't even be able to play them like on the new consoles. And it's so stupid because, like, I mean, I spent all this money and time, like, just collecting these and like playing one here or there and like actually having fun, because I like to, whenever people come over, like, I mean, I definitely want them to have fun, especially I don't want them to get bored, so I have like that collection, and then like now they're doing things where it's like, no, now we're just gonna keep it to Xbox X Series or PS5, and I'm just kind of like, that's kind of stupid, because like it's literally the exact same thing. It's just a better processor or whatever. So what is the difference between having that and this now? Like, it's so much bullshit that they're just money grabbing all this shit, and I hate it. But
Money.
yeah, I mean, it makes the world go round, and I get it. But like, here it goes, man. Like, I mean, hopefully, like, I'm gonna do some numbers, and hopefully I can probably purchase Hogwarts, because I really was looking forward to it. It's one of the only ones that, like, because I stopped buying $60 games. I only buy stuff like on the cheap. But definitely Hogwarts would be one of the ones that like was something that I've been looking for. They already said that they weren't gonna do Quidditch or anything like that, which is a big bummer. But definitely to see like more of the castle and actually like see if you even learn different spells and potions and stuff. Like, dude, it's like every like Harry Potter fan's dream. So I am definitely investing some time in that, and hopefully I put it even up on my Twitch. So we'll see. We'll see. I gotta crunch numbers now.
I'd probably watch you playing that.
I wonder if you could kill other kids. That would be cool.
If I'm aware, I believe you can. I believe you can. You could go around and basically murk anyone in the open world, including the people in the school.
Oh no!
Yeah, let's go.
No, booyah!
Kill the Slytherins. Whoops.
Playing with his toys.
Yeah, he's playing with his jet expansion for Optimus Prime.
Oh, pause, man.
No, I'm trying to figure out my damn necklace. It won't sync to my phone.
That's a Gilded issue. I have that issue usually.
What?
I'm surprised you guys can hear me right now. Honestly, the headphone connecting with Gilded, it's a problem.
I still always use like the $35 like Sony headset you can plug into your controller. Like that one's like it always uses this, and it always works well. So
man, I don't know. I haven't had issues with Gilded so far. As far as I'm aware, any issues that I do have is usually when Windows decides to update and it changes all my settings on like the PC in general, not just in one application. But with that being said, let's go ahead and just dive straight into it. So
here we go.
Yeah. So let me get rid
Gods
of
and monster.
this bulletin.
In the land of gods and monsters.
All right. So before we get into the gods and monsters, it looks like they are acknowledging that the Flash movie is going to be where it hits reset, and unfortunately this is where I personally have a little bit of an issue, because I was hoping that they would just scrap it and start from scratch, but it looks like they're going to do it looks like they're going to do another attempt at they're going to do another attempt at a hodgepodge freaking Frankenstein universe, but with a little bit more effort in the Frankenstein-ness than they did last time. Because we still have Shazam coming in on March 17th, and then The Flash on June 16th, and that's when the universe gets reset. And the way James Gunn described it in the video he put out on Twitter was that basically what we said a couple weeks ago, where Shazam, you could keep that in this new universe, because he's kind of in his own world. He hasn't really interacted with the rest of the DCEU, especially since The Rock pulled Black Adam from Shazam, so they don't even have that connection going on.
Yeah.
The Flash, it gets a little bit trickier. He said after the reset, we will be getting Blue Beetle, and I think he's going to fit into the new universe, because, again, it's a new project. They haven't interacted, so they probably did some tinkering behind the scenes to kind of get that to fit more of the universe that they're going to go to. The real puzzler for me is that they're still doing Aquaman in December after the Flash, which is the point of a
I don't get that.
universe reset. And if they are potentially getting Jason Momoa for either Lobo or another character that Momoa likes, how the hell is that going to work? Unless it's a like
Self-contained
prequel,
thing.
unless it like takes place before the Flash, but even then it's just going to be kind of weird seeing it after the Flash.
Or it could be an Elsewhere.
Oh, hey.
Yeah.
Oh,
Miss Cat,
Miss
how you doing?
Cat!
How you doing, Miss Cat? I didn't.
Doing all right. I just turned an assignment I've been working on, so let's go.
Glad to have you.
Thank you.
Well, my headphones can't sync to my phone, so you guys are have to be on speakerphone.
All right, just make sure to mute yourself sometimes, because it like when JT does it, it echoes what I'm saying or what the people are saying. So just whenever you're not talking, Davel, go ahead and hit that mute button. But moving on.
Does it echo when they talk?
No, not right now. Not right now. Right now, whatever you're doing, it works. It's perfectly fine.
Yeah.
But after Aquaman, that's when officially Chapter 1 begins. So, geez,
What's
it's
up?
like breaking their bones.
Bro. What's going on?
I don't know. Oh,
David, mute.
yeah. Are you like taking out an action figure or something, Davel?
What?
Who?
Who was making the crunching?
Who, me? Someone's drinking out of a water bottle.
Oh. Anyways, as I was saying, the first, or like the first chapter is, they titled it Gods and Monsters, and we have stuff like Creature Commandos, which is going to be an animated series. I believe that one is confirmed to be the first one.
Creature Commandos!
It literally sounds like it is just Task Force or Team 7 Task Force X made by like Waller and such, but maybe back in the day. So let me pull this.
Yeah, World War II.
Yeah, let me pull this up. Well, here's the deal though. It's not, I don't think it's going to be in World War II, because they said that the team originally went into fight Nazis, but this is a modern take on that, and I'm pretty sure that's going to tie in more into the rest of these projects. So if it's set in World War II, that wouldn't make much sense for them to be in World War II and then all the way over here be like that. But the description for that says it's a 7 episode, and this is according to the Hollywood Reporter, who was one of the first to break the story. But it says it's going to be a 7 episode animated series. The voice actors haven't been cast yet, but executives are looking to find people who can voice the characters and also be their live action versions, which is what they're going for. They said across all the board. And that sounds cool in concept, but I feel like it's going to get really tricky if they start doing games and trying to tie in game development, which could take up to 6 years, and try to fit it into where they want it to. So that could come up into an issue later if they really do want to keep the actors for these animated series or for these games or for these movies, etc. But then we also had Waller, which is said to basically survive the reset because it's going to be Viola Davis coming back. And when he did describe it, he said that she's going to be joined by Team Peacemaker, which basically makes me believe this is the equivalent of Peacemaker Season 2, just with a bit more emphasis on Waller. So it looks
the equivalent keeping his wife with the job?
Yeah, basically.
Yes.
Again, we'll get more into it a bit later. A bit disappointing that they're not just starting from scratch. It does seem like he picked favorites on certain things, and he kept that instead of just doing it. Also announced was Superman Legacy, which is going to be a movie. I think that's going to be the first actual movie that they're trying to get out, because I think that's the only one that has a release date, and I believe it was July 11th of 2025.
But also, the Batman Part 2 comes out in October of that year as well.
Yeah. But we're talking about the chapter 1 right now.
Oh, okay.
We'll get to
Sorry.
the whole Elseworld and stuff like that later. Then we have Lanterns, which is going to be a HBO show, a movie
Yeah.
on
Damn it.
the Authority.
Oh my god. It's gonna be so fucking good.
That's what I'm looking forward to.
Yeah, Lanterns is gonna be the tits.
A show called Paradise Lost, which is going to be set in the world of Wonder Woman, which also they didn't get much into detail, but it seems like it's going to be the Gal Gadot Wonder Woman timeline. But again, it's just weird how this is all going to fit while still resetting everything other than Frankenstein universe.
Didn't a couple years ago there was gonna be they were in talks of like doing some sort of like Themyscira off side story when the first Wonder Woman came out. Remember that there was reports for that.
Yeah, but I don't think it's. I don't think this is what it was going to be. It was probably going to be a little bit different. But they probably kept the idea of making a show, and then James Gunn obviously came in and he said, "Well, let's do this one."
Well, like what they're trying to do is like they're trying to bring in like more of kind of like a little bit of a backstory of the mascara the thing, and like that's cool, and they're gonna try to like actually make it kind of like a Game of Thrones kind of a theme.
Yeah. Well, the question I have though, and I'll ask you a little bit more in depth after, once we get into more finer details on each one of these, but it's like, why not just use that as an opportunity to introduce this version of her homeland and start the new one instead of trying to connect to the old one, which you're getting rid of. And again, it's confusing. But then we also have the Batman.
Real quick.
What's up?
Real quick. I gotta jump off, but I will join back in about a half hour and join you guys wherever you guys are at.
All right. Thanks for stopping by. Hopefully you can
See
make
you
it
in a
back.
little bit.
All right.
All right,
Yeah.
So,
buddy.
Talk to you.
as well as Paradise Lost, we also have Batman: The Brave and Bold got announced, which is going to be a film, a Booster Gold live-action series, Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow film, a Swamp Thing film, and then that ends what has been announced for Chapter 1 of their overall 8 to 10 year plan. This is, I think they said it's going to be more likely like the first 2 to 3, maybe even 4 years is what this schedule is going to be looking at.
Yeah.
And then we have, of course, what JT was talking about a second ago, the DC Elseworlds. So the stuff that they're not rebooting and is not going to be connected in any way up until this point. I mean, who knows? Maybe Crisis Infinite Earths later. Who knows? But we have stuff like the Batman that got kept, the Joker universe that got kept. So we are getting the sequels to that still. Joker's still scheduled for October of 2024. And Batman Part 2 is scheduled for October of 2025. Granted, all of those, like most movies and games or TV shows, sometimes could get pushed back. But that's what they're aiming for. We're also keeping, it looks like, Superman and Lois for the most part is staying. And then Teen Titans Go. So that right there is again, this is the next at most 4 years of what DC is looking like. I guess they're keeping other stuff close to the chest just because it's probably their early concept to where they might not end up going through with it, or it might be saved for future announcements to build up hype later. That way they don't just do like they did last time and reveal like 10, 12 years and we didn't even get half of the shit that was announced on that thing. Like literally after the third project, they went into freak out mode and just started changing stuff up. But so let me just start off with the easy thing. Or actually, let me see. So let's get in. I'm trying to figure out how to tackle this. Because if I go down the line with reading like the descriptions of what was kind of said for each of these projects, it might take a while. So I'll just start off with the question. I'll get your thoughts first, Mr. Joe Star.
You're cutting in and out, Tex-Mex.
Am I cutting out for everyone or just Davell?
You're
not really.
clear on my end.
Yeah, you're
Oh,
clear
okay.
on my
On
end
my
too.
end.
You might have to jump out and jump back in, Devin. Oh, I guess we did lose him anyway. So hopefully he's gonna jump back in. But Mr. Joestar,
Yes.
do you feel confident in this plan of theirs? Do you think they're actually gonna stick with their guns, no pun intended, or do you think that they might freak out if, like, let's say the first two aren't really well received?
Yeah, they're gonna fucking completely suck dick. Nah, just kidding.
Bruh.
In all honesty, no. Like, what they're doing is like, I see what Gunn's trying to do. Like, definitely, he's trying to plan everything out. He's trying to do stuff like the correct way, and he's already promised that he's already working on like a couple of things. Even like Superman Legacy is the one that he's working on right now and stuff like that. So, I do see a promise in this, and like this is actually really good because they're starting off from scratch. Yeah, it really sucks because of the fact that I actually do enjoy Shazam. Like that was a good one, and like they're not even gonna bring back, Black Adam for that because I really wanted to see. I know you guys didn't really care much, or some of you didn't like as much, but I actually enjoyed that movie. Like Black Adam was actually pretty cool. But definitely would have wanted to see like Superman, him, and like maybe like Shazam actually fight it out, or Captain Marvel, whichever way you want to call him.
Well, we might get
But
that. I mean, like I said, Gunn did say
yeah,
that
we could.
he was
Yeah,
willing
we
to
could.
he was willing to make a workaround around Shazam since it was its own
Yes, that was
thing
me.
for the money.
Yeah.
For the most part. I will say Black Adam. That's when your wish is kind of a little bit more complicated. It does seem like behind the scenes, The Rock potentially burned a lot of bridges, just to push that movie out and make it seem that it was doing better than it was. And there seemed to be some drama in the background. So if we get a Black Adam, there's a chance they might just recast him. But we'll just have to wait and see on that end. With that being said, though, out of all these projects, this question goes out to all of you guys, but we'll start off with you since you're already going, Mr. Joestar. Which one is probably the one that stands out the most for you?
To be honest, there's three of them, and I'll just do a quick thing. Like
All right.
honestly,
Top three, then.
Creature Commandos. Creature Commandos is actually one of the ones that I really want to see the most because that was actually introduced by like watching something else. I think it was like Underneath the Hood or something like that, or Tales of Underneath the Hood or some shit. But it was actually introduced like that with like old school horror based monsters, but they're good guys, and they're not necessarily just original Frankenstein, but there is like a Frankenstein, a vampire, a werewolf, and Medusa, but like they call them something else because they're different people, of course. But definitely it was one of the ones that like made an impression on me because I was like, I didn't know they had like original monsters on this thing, and I know like Marvel has its own thing too, so I was just like, that's kind of cool. And I really enjoyed what I saw from that one episode, and it was really enjoyable, so I really want to see what they do with the Creature Commandos. Next would be like the Lanterns. Oh my god, man, I've been waiting for so long, like for them to do something with like Green Lantern because, like, honestly, like the show that they had before was great. It was amazing. The animation was like weird because it was all like, I don't know, like Blasto. If you guys remember that from like PlayStation 1, it was like big chins and like weird, I don't know, animation towards it. But I really enjoyed it still. Like the storyline was really good. It gets you deeper into the Green Lantern, but they just kind of stopped it when it was getting good, and like I was just kind of like, well, damn, I would really wish I would have seen more because I really do hope that they introduce more because they're going to be talking about Hal Jordan and Jon Stewart. And the thing about it is that, at some point, like, Hal Jordan gets taken over by like that being where he becomes kind of like evil, and hopefully, maybe, I don't know, who knows if they would actually even do it where like he actually goes kind of insane and actually starts to like try to kill, or he kills like the other lanterns, and like it's just like this big old like thing, and it's like the Blackest Night, and I really do
That one's
hope. I have some
actually
high hopes for that one.
that one's actually the storyline you're talking about is Twilight Emerald.
What is it?
Twilight
Oh,
Emerald.
okay, there you go.
Where he gets taken
Twilight
over by
Emerald,
Parallax.
Parallax. Thank you. Yes.
Yeah.
So like, and that's the thing is, it's like I really do hope that they would actually introduce something like that, maybe towards the end or something. I don't know, but that right there is one of the biggest ones that I really am super excited to see. Also, The Brave and the Bold. Like, I only watched a few episodes like from the old series, like, and I wasn't really that impressed because like they kept changing like the Batman voice, and nobody could replace like animated series Batman. But definitely like it had a lot of like team ups with like different people, and it was really cool. But I really do want to see what happens with this, because they've promised the fact that they're going to introduce the Bat family. So the Brave and the Bold is going to be Bruce Wayne and Damian Wayne. So it's going to be starting right there, and it's going to be basically like expanding and introducing more of the family versus just another Batman movie. You know what I'm saying? So now it's actually taken flight, and it's actually moving forward with because we've already had like so many Batmans, and like nothing against Batman Part 2. Like, I do want to see that. Like, I mean, I mean, it was. I would say, like, I didn't really care as much for the first one, is just because I was like, well, you seen them one, you seen them all again. But I will say though, like the action and everything else in there was great. So I really do have some high hopes on that.
It will be nice to see a Batman project that's not just a rehash of Batman and Joker. It's gonna introduce more of the other members, like you said, of the Bat family, which should be pretty cool in itself. And you said you had a third project.
That was my third project. It was the Brave and the Bold, because it was Creatures Commandos, the Lanterns, and the Brave and the Bold.
Yeah.
But I will say though, my high hopes for the Brave and the Bold is that at some point they maybe might introduce like even like the story of like Red Hood, because I feel like that one would be like really nice, because it's like one of the darker stories for Batman. Like he's had some tragedies, but like having one of his disciples like go bad and go rogue. Like, if they introduce that, dude, that's gold right there. Right there, people would be like, "Oh, damn, this is a great story. Let's fucking dive in more into it. Let's go for it." And I think people would really enjoy that.
Yeah. And that right there. Well, I'll save that for later for the speculations part. But all right, I'll ask you, Miss Cap, next. What is probably your standout projects in this plan that they have for now?
So, definitely Lanterns. I adore Jon Stewart, and I really, really like what they have planned. I actually really hope to expand and learn more about him, because really know about him and like why I love him so much is what I've seen through like Justice League and Justice League Unlimited. But like just from like that and his storyline through that is like he's honestly the best. Like he's honestly one of my favorite Lanterns, and I really love to see his storyline really be put out there. Like whatever they do with him, I just really hope they do it justice. Like I really hope they find someone who can really show us who Jon Stewart really is. Another I'm actually pretty excited for is, it's Blue Beetle, honestly. Blue Beetle is one of those, like, side-ish characters that you may have or may have heard about, depending on, like, what generation you are and, like, how well you know. But, like, I'm really excited what they're going to actually do with him. Really gotten much except for like some like still pictures and some like just like things behind the scenes things like very very
that's true. It comes out this year and they've been pretty like quiet about it. Like we haven't even gotten an official poster. The only visuals we have had is concept art and potato cam from somebody like sneaking an on-set film like when they weren't supposed to.
Yep. That's why I'm like almost kind of excited because I'm like, okay, how are they gonna do this character know, we probably seen before, but also haven't seen before, like with fresh eyes. So honestly, those two are kind of the two that I'm really excited for in this like upcoming universe they got going on.
All right. And what about you, JT? What caught your eye for the most part?
Actually, I have two. First of all, Blue Beetle is one that I'm interested in seeing in theaters because, like Miss Cap said, he is part, of Young Justice team, I believe, and he's such an interesting character with the Scarab, and see how would that play out and how he might be involved in the whole universe that they're expanding on and creating this beautiful thing that's really cool. Another project that I'm looking forward to is actually this the Superwoman movie, Supergirl movie, because I know there was a movie back in the 1980s involving Supergirl, but that didn't really stand out as much. But feel like this one, Supergirl had a tragic backstory with her
Mm-hmm.
being Clark's cousin, but also experiencing Krypton blowing up, and so it'd be kind of interesting of how maybe down the line how Superman and maybe Supergirl can come together at some point in this universe, depending on circumstances and everything. So, I mean, I'm really looking forward to Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow, and of course, like the Themyscira TV show, a Game of Thrones esque type thing. It's gonna be really bloody. I know that for sure. There's gonna
Mm-hmm.
be a lot of powers involved, especially like it might give us a preview like how the men like like a place where like men is not there anymore, and how can the women operate with each other, like different powers and whatnot, and it'll be interesting. But of course, the Batman Brave and the Bold, Damian Wayne, Assassin, the League of Legends, Ra's al Ghul might be introduced, plus with the Bat family, like Barbara Gordon.
Yeah.
I mean, like Jason Todd. I mean, you have so many opportunities for this movie to kind of expand the Bat family, and plus maybe Alfred might have a bigger role than just being Butler, so to speak. He might have maybe like a few action sequences here and there, but I feel like those few projects would kind of help because, like again, like DC is all about storytelling, right? That's what James Gunn talked about it, and in his announcement was like, "Hey, we're here about storytelling." I feel like DC has done a great job with storytelling with like with the movies and the comic books, but in live action, they kind of lack in that department to some degree. But I think like
Yeah.
James Gunn did a good job and kind of said, "Hey, here's the layout. We are planning this carefully. Like 8 to 10 year plan, 2 chapters. This is only the beginning of it. More will be about later, but this is our game plan." And again, if this chapter, is really something, then we can have this discussion of saying, "Hey, has DC somewhat catch up to Marvel in the way that it's supposed to be, all those years ago?" So we'll see. But I am looking forward to those 4 products that I just mentioned.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
last but not least, Davil. I I'm pretty sure I know which one you're probably gonna say, but what is the one that caught your attention the most?
Superman.
Oh yeah, I mean off the bat, it's obviously gonna be Superman Legacy, which is it struck a chord with me just because I thought of Tron Legacy and they're the same kind of title sequence. But that one and then Green Lantern, but I want to stick to Superman Legacy specifically because I was really shocked when he showed that comic book cover image of Superman All Star, and I actually have it on Blu-ray. It's probably one of my favorite DC animated Superman films. It stays pretty true to the comic book. There's a couple of scenes that are not reproduced from comic to animation, but overall, it's a really good story. I recommend you guys like watch the movie on Blu-ray or find it somewhere online. I think it could be on
I believe it's
HBO
on
Max.
HBO Max. Yeah.
Yeah, watch it. It's a cool story.
What's it called?
But I'm excited for that for sure.
So you mentioned
Which
the
Superman is it though? Sorry,
Superman All-Star.
Superman All-Star. I'm gonna look it up.
Or All-Star Superman, I believe. Well,
Okay.
you mentioned the source materials that they're potentially taking things from, like you said. Gunn's tweeted that he a picture of coffee and him and a stack of books, and one of those books obviously was All-Star Superman. I think for Batman they're doing the Grant Morrison run. The Supergirl's a more recent one. Swamp Thing
Yeah.
is like Alan Moore. So Davel, do you think that their Gunn is choosing the right source material to start brainstorming ideas and basing some of these characteristics that these characters will have? Obviously, like the MCU and most other comic book and video game adaptations, they do undergo some changes, but based on what we know of those source materials, do you think they're heading in the right direction, Davel?
Whether I like it or not, I think he's doing a good job at picking like the right stories to start with these characters. Obviously, from a personal point of view, I feel like, well, I don't know about Supergirl or like Creature Commandos or the Authority. Like these characters, like they kind of existed, specifically the Authority existed like outside the DC universe until like the Flashpoint event happened, and that's what made them pop themselves into that universe, which they call it the blood something. It's some sort of term which means like it's a universe between two universes or something like that. But what I'm trying to get at is that like I feel some of these stories are really good, but like it's gonna be hard for us to get attached to those characters because we're just not very like they're not very popular roster characters. They're
Yeah.
kind of
Yeah.
like back of hand,
Well, when it comes to the
Yeah.
from the
Authority,
bottom.
let me read the
And
description real quick. It says it's a movie based on the team of superheroes that have extreme methods of protecting the planet. It's first came in the 1990s under Wildstorm, which they did end up, like you said, after Flashpoint. DC grabbed Wildstorm Publishing, and they brought over people like Grifter into Team 7, and obviously the Authority. And what's it called? The thing about those guys for me is based on the information they gave us. Not saying that the Boys is necessarily bootleg, but obviously the Boys is like bootleg Justice League. Like they are basing their evil superheroes off of the Justice League, and turning them into a like more violent, twisted version of that. And it sounds like the Authority is a bootleg of a bootleg in that sense. So I don't know how I feel about that. We're gonna have like bootleg Superman, bootleg Batman, which it
how
could
I view it.
It could be good if done right. But I don't know. I feel like even though it probably came before the Boys, I feel like it's gonna be very heavily compared to that, and I hope it doesn't get like mix in the shuffle or just doesn't hit the same heights as that series is, because then it's not potentially going to live up to the rest of these projects. It's not going to stand on its own if that's the case.
To add to what you're saying, I watched a lot of YouTube videos and read stuff about these characters, and some of their powers are really interesting. One thing that I was like, what? Is I didn't know that Apollo, which is a guy that kind of looks like Superman, but he's not. He basically has his powers, but he's not as strong as him. And the other guy who looks like Batman, Midnighter. Like I didn't know this, but there were a couple. Like two guys that like each other. And I found that really interesting because like for this, like I hate when they make characters all of a sudden just woke. And with these characters, they've been established for a while and have already been like within that kind of relationship. That's fine.
Yeah.
Doesn't hate.
It's more
they
fluid.
Just jump in like, let's make this character like gay or something.
Yeah, it's more fluid when it's when you create them from the ground up. Well, so, what I find interesting,
I think it's earned.
Yeah, what I find interesting though is like you said, he's very similar to Superman, and they're obviously gonna interact in this world. So I want to see how good Superman is gonna go and feel about a guy that's still technically a good guy because he means well, but they're just a little bit more closer to like the Punisher's style of justice than they are Superman's style of justice.
Well, it's like the Elseworld episode for the what's it called? The Justice League Unlimited, I believe. I mean, what that was, it's like they had like what was it,
Oh yeah,
Ultraman, where they had
Yep.
yeah,
Ultraman.
Ultraman. Yeah.
Yeah, Ultraman, and then they had Owlman as Batman. Or no, they had Batman, but it was like oh no, was it
No, yeah, he was
Owlman?
out.
No,
He
it
was
was
like
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
he
It
was
was
Owlman.
It was Al.
yeah.
Not to be
And then
confused
there was
with
the
Night Owl.
yeah. Yeah, and they had like the lantern, but they called him something else. Um, and
The Green Guardsman.
yes, the Green Guardsman. Thank
Yeah,
you.
the Green Guardsman. Yeah.
I'm so glad you guys know that. Jesus Christ. But that's the thing is, it's like I feel that they can actually do something with it because the fact that they actually have Superman Legacy, I mean, you don't know what kind of storyline they're going to go with, but either way, though, they're introducing a new Superman, right? And they're just starting from scratch, and then they're going to do the Green Lanterns, which is like space, time, and all this stuff, which could
Mhm.
lead into like like Doctor Strange with like the whole like multiverse, and they could open up into the Authority, which is something that is to me is amazing because that's what I want to see. I want to see more shit. I want to see more open stuff to like open areas because if they're trying to do like stuff with like the like Justice League Unlimited, like that had so much potential, and if they actually had stuff like that where they introduced like even the old Justice League, the Justice Team of
Justice League of
America.
Society.
Or
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
Justice
Justice
Team
Society
of
of America.
yeah.
Society
Thank you.
America.
Yeah, yeah. And like it's introducing all of that stuff like what we have been wanting so bad, and like that's actually like a good opportunity. Like now how they tie it in, that's the big if, like how they're gonna do it. But to actually show something new, and yeah, you're right about the whole woke thing. Like, I mean, I get it. Like it would be kind of like a little bit of a damper not keeping it to like its original state. But you know how Hollywood is and people
Yeah.
being sensitive these days. But that's the thing though, is that this actually introduces like an open area where it even shows that like where you can actually see a different world, well then like and somehow this Superman and these lanterns and some of these people that have won that were before, like even with Waller and all that stuff, like introduce it, like they all get introduced into the Authority, like maybe they have to go clash and they have to fight like they did in the Justice League Unlimited. Like how cool would that be? But
But
that's what I'm hoping for.
another thing that is the wild card of all this, in my opinion, is Swamp Thing movie, because I know that's supposed to be a horror base, but Swamp Thing is a major player in all of this. I mean, this is a new universe, and he's pretty creepy. So I mean, but I think that movie would kind of help establish maybe a potential villain within Chapter 1 as Swamp Thing, because you never know. I never read comics about Swamp Thing, but I know that he has
Dude is
connections maybe all over, and
OP as
so
fuck.
maybe Swamp Thing movie might establish a villain of unknown that might potentially have problems with all these characters building up in
Mhm.
this new universe.
Yeah, I
Well, I mean, if
actually
you think about, oh,
that JT, I applaud you because Swamp Thing was one of the ones that was my like stood out to me the most because I actually think the character's pretty cool. He's pretty powerful. A lot of these other characters are actually quite afraid of him because of his power level. Um,
mm-hmm.
and like you said, it's gonna have more of a like horror vibe, and if they do it right, I just I hope that he's practical, and if they're gonna bring anyone in for this type of like horror type feel, and going off of I think it's Alan Moore's run, I feel like
Mhm.
my opinion, they need to go ahead and be on the phone with Guillermo del Toro. I think he would be
Yeah, I was
perfect
gonna
for.
say that too.
Yeah,
Okay.
Yes.
he'd be perfect for that tone and style of what they're going for, especially since he has dabbled in with some whimsical stuff, which I feel like you could blend it in really well with the rest of the universe, even if it is a horror genre.
Can I say something though? Like,
Yeah,
I
yeah,
will
go.
say, like, my biggest like observation from this whole like list is the fact that, like, okay, these are individual stories that somehow tie into the next, right? Correct.
Mhm.
And my biggest thing is, like, since Swamp Thing is the last, this is where I was kind of thinking about. Yeah, you're probably right with JT, what you were talking about, like. And like what I was saying is that tying into all of these, it seems like that they could actually have it to where Swamp Thing is the biggest villain out of this whole series. Because, I mean, if you think about it, Swamp Thing is the monster that basically does not like humans whatsoever, right? He just completely hates us. Every now and again, he'll turn a blind eye and be like, sure, I'll fucking help you out. But even then, though, like, I mean, he just fucking hates us. And you look at it like through the whole thing, it seems like maybe at the end of it, like that's what it leads up to is Swamp Thing, where literally maybe at some point, the authorities come into place, the brave and the bold, and like all that stuff, and then even with just the last thing with Supergirl, like I mean, it could tie into like Swamp Thing, where maybe they fuck up the Earth a little too much, and then he just gets extremely fucking pissed and then decides to go complete like bonkers. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's what I'm really hoping that they actually tie it in really well, because if it's leading to Swamp Thing being the only thing, like to me, like that's like a minor Doctor Doom kind of thing, where they're just trying to lead into something where if the Swamp Thing is the last thing that's going to be on their list, and it's going to be the big thing. So just hoping to the DC if they do it right.
Yeah, I think that Swamp Thing and Superman are the only ones that we know what order they are on, because I think the rest of them they just kind of threw out there. We don't know what um, order they're in. But Swamp Thing, they did promise that's the closing, and they do want to try again
Ooh.
at basically the first actual big part of this will be Superman Legacy. We might get Waller and Creature Commandos first, but I don't think they're gonna be what they consider the launching point. I think they're
Yeah,
just there to set up the background, which
yeah, yeah.
which my standouts personally is, like I mentioned earlier, Swamp Thing and Creature Commandos. If the animation styles looks like what they showed on that like sneak peek early look that they showed, and it's not just concept art and it looks like that, it looks like it's going to be really cool looking, really fun to look at, and just the characters just seem like they all have unlike in the MCU where you had the Thunderbolts where they all look like freaking super soldier clones. These guys all look like they each are going to be a team of misfits that bring something different to the table. And
Oh yeah.
it's going to be freaking monsters. I mean, you got the Weasel in there. I don't know what the hell he's going to bring into the table other than comic relief, but hey, I'm all for it. I want to see more of that
Yeah.
weird thing cuz he was awesome in Suicide Squad. Other than that, all these other projects I'm holding off till we get more details on, because while they do sound exciting, I mean, we have gone through a roller coaster with DC the past 10 years where it's like, oh yeah,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
it's looking promising. I do feel like this does show a little bit more it being solidified, and the fact that they got someone from Marvel like James Gunn that has been working closely to like Kevin Feige, and for Infinity War he worked closely with all the other directors to kind of work on this one movie that brought everything together. I feel like during that producer role and director role, I feel like he is going to take what he learned from over there on how to handle and tackle intertwining projects and do a good job. For me, I wanted to be on y'all's hype train with Lanterns because Green Lantern is probably my favorite DC character. That's not Batman. I love almost every incarnation of him. I mean, I grew up with Hal Jordan. I loved John Stewart in both stuff like Injustice or in Justice League Unlimited. I also loved the Kyle run. The only one that I didn't really care too much for is Guy Gardner, which I will say the thing that brings the Lanterns, which is already a plus in my thing, is that terrible like development hell TV series that they were gonna make for HBO has been canned, and that one was gonna have I think Jessica Cruz and Guy Gardner and the worst fucking Green Lanterns you could think of, the ones nobody wants, and they were just gonna shove them all into a show and be like, hey, you wanted a Green Lantern? Well, here, we got Green Lantern at home. And then it was gonna be bootleg Green Lantern, and it's just the only downside to that is the fact that it's a show still. And I know I've talked to Mr. Oyman about this before, with characters like Nova, or hell, we've seen it happen to characters like Iron Fist and the Inhumans. Certain IPs, making them on TV budgets, even if it is an HBO, could be really hard, because you get one of two options, and it looks like one of those options, unfortunately, is what they're going to be going for right here, and it's you either get She-Hulk CGI and do crazy stuff but with bad CGI on a TV budget, or you get something that's supposed to be like space and such like that and don't do that. And based on the description of the show, it's like they started off pretty good. They're like, it's a new take on the space cops with power rings, and they said that their vision is going to be kind of like a true detective type of stuff. That sounds pretty cool. And then Peter Safran was like, oh, and it's going to be terrestrial based. So that's where I have an issue at. So you're going to have space-based characters stuck on Earth. And I don't want to see these types. Certain characters, obviously, like Batman, even Superman, fine, keep them on Earth. That fits pretty well. But Green Lanterns, it's the reason we go. Yeah, the reason we go there is he interacts on Earth, but their prime, their more interesting stories are whenever they're not tethered to Earth and they're allowed to go out there and explore different quadrants and show why they are the space cops and not just another protector on Earth. They do say that it is going to play an important role, so hopefully that ties in with more of like the monster/gods thing, and we do get some stuff that kind of lets us get away from Earth, but as of right now, based on that description, I don't think we're going to, and that's why I am still looking forward to it, but if they didn't say that we're going to be Earth-based, it would have been on the top of my list, but with that, it kind of unfortunately knocked it a few pegs down.
I didn't know that. That really bums me out. Because, most of his, stuff, he gets to see, a whole planet, and it's, alive, and that whole planet becomes a lantern as well. And it's, one of the more interesting stories. There's just, so much stuff, and then the whole thing with, Sinestro and the rings, and, I don't know what they're thinking, if it's just going to be something that's, here on Earth. That doesn't really make any sense. They're supposed to be, no, I don't know if you take an offense to it, but they're the Guardians of the Galaxy version of it, Well,
yeah, they're
that's
the Novas. They're like the Novas. They're space cops.
Yeah. So that's the whole thing. It's just why would you want to keep them somewhere where they're just caged in one area when they're literally police the whole world, different worlds? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I think the reason why is because what Tex Morty said about the TV budget. If they do a Atlantis in space, that's a lot of CGI. And, this is what Tex Morty said. It could be crap like She-Hulk, or it could be the most expensive thing on the planet. So maybe they kind of compromising it as to where we need to have a quality lantern show without all the CGI, because we know that CGI, especially doing all the computer graphics and everything, can be a little bit crappy on TV. So maybe that's where their concern is to be.
Yeah,
maybe.
and I see why, but like me personally, if I were Gunn, I know that Batman is a like big franchise and stuff like that. Yeah. But we're already getting the Batman Part 2 that's going into theaters. So they obviously could have sacrificed the Batman Brave and Bold movie and turned that into a TV show, because Batman could work on a TV budget, like an HBO budget that's like Game of Thrones or Last of Us.
Fuck. Yeah.
Batman would work perfectly with that. You'll have more time to let the Bat family breathe. Like they're starting off with Damian. Like you're already skipping over Dick Grayson, Jason Todd, Tim Drake. Like you're skipping over all of this and going straight to Damian. So if you turn that into a show, you could give each one of those characters their moment of shine. Like maybe not like a backstory episode, but you could have an episode where you see a lot more Nightwing and he kind of talks about and reminiscence about how when him and Batman were the Batman and Robin. So you could have more time for character development to get to know this whole catalog of characters together, and replace that film give the film budget to Green Lanterns, to where you have a tight-paced story and a big giant like $250,000 or $50 million budget to give it good CG to allow them to go off of Earth, and you get the best of both worlds. But obviously, like I mentioned earlier, I guess they feel the need to have two different Batmen have movies for the umpteenth time.
Maybe it's just because they didn't want to do like another like backstory on a bunch of stuff, like, because that is a lot of time. I mean, I could see where a lot of time and effort could go into that, especially if they made it into a series. Like that's a lot of time. But even then, though, like I get it that they're trying to make it short, but still, though, like how cool would that be, though? I mean, that would make more sense. I can see that being way better. Now I just feel kind of bad now, because it's like, damn, you make some pretty good points, buddy. And honestly, like it's kind of like, oh fuck, man, I didn't even think about that. That really bums me out, because then it's true. Like we can't really have like a Red Hood like episode. You know what I'm saying? Like.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like you're skipping you're skipping that aspect. Like Jason Todd, if you had it in a series instead of a movie, you could have had part of the season be that, like him dealing with something that happened in the past. Now that we have, like, they're starting with Damian and such, that Red Hood storyline probably already happened off screen.
Happens.
So, it did.
Yeah.
So that's why I feel like that was a little bit of a missed opportunity, where they could have just turned that into a show and had more time to develop this extended family, and not just feel forced to rush through, okay, here's the Bat family, but you're mainly here for Batman and Robin, and we only got 2 hours of it. No, we could have had like 8 to 10 hours of them exploring Gotham and the Bat family all together.
Do you think they don't want to like overstep, like, you know, because I think they have like the Teen Titans, they already have like Dick Grayson, they already have, you know, Jason, but it's just like, you know, I know it's separate, but they also probably like they're trying to overstep all that and just move on to like a different thing, you know?
Yeah,
Could
I could see
also be
that
a
too.
reason because the Teen Titans show, so it's just like maybe they're like, all right, we didn't go deep into it, but we touched base on both of those characters, so now we want to focus on like a different Robin, you know, in this. And like so that could also do something as well.
If they do a Teen Titans, do you think they'll use the Damian Wayne Robin?
Hopefully they do Nightwing in them. That'd be fucking better, honestly. Nightwing.
Yeah, Cyborg. Why haven't they not even taken a crack at Nightwing in anything? Like, that is a great character. I don't know why they haven't.
I don't know. I mean, hopefully he's in the Brave and the Bold. One could hopefully. Well, yeah, they have that one show, the Titans show.
The Titans.
But that doesn't fucking count. Nobody watches that.
Yeah,
What? I watched that shit. What the hell are you talking about? Don't you dare.
Okay. But I mean, I'm talking about in the movies though. They've never
No,
done Dick
yeah,
Grayson in
yeah.
any movies.
No.
Live
Yeah,
action.
yeah.
No.
Live action. That's what I meant.
Yeah, but I mean, I would be more interested with like I said, with Red Hood, because that's like, that's like a good story, because it's, somebody dies and then they come back and then they're evil, kind of a thing. Where I mean, people like that. They like the where good goes bad, and like they finally have like the epiphany of, what, maybe I should stop this, and then they go back to being good, but they're still a badass. You know what I'm saying? Like. Yeah. Like everybody loves that kind of story. I mean, even in anything like Star Wars, Anakin Skywalker, he goes
Kylo
from
Ren.
good, yeah. And I mean, like, well, that was just like a bitch one, because I hated Kylo. Kylo Ren's was like a bitch. He's just like a
turned
little
good for
pouty
5
boy.
minutes and they died.
Oh my god.
But also like another thing I'm thinking about all these characters and all these movies and shows is that, so maybe in the movie Superman Legacy, Brainiac can kind of be a villain associated with, especially in the Swamp Thing movie, because I don't know, like his like manipulation and everything. And I mean, I don't, they have so many options, but I feel like if James Gunn does it right, like Brainiac can be introduced as another big bad villain within this gods and monsters sort of thing, and maybe he kind of controls Swamp Thing and for like destruction of Earth or something of that nature. So, I mean, I don't know. I'm just.
That'd
I
be
mean,
cool.
that'd be kind
It
of cool.
varies, man.
That would be cool.
All right, I will say
It's open.
I hope by like when they reach their phase 3, me personally, I hope that they don't just do a Marvel bootleg version and just try to go with Darkseid again. If he wants to be in like one of the Superman movies or something like that, do that. I hope that for like the big Justice League one, that they do a like a Legion of Doom, or try some new fresh ideas, something that's because they have such. If I know for sure, one thing is that I do love the villains and such on Marvel, but they are focused a lot on the heroes and such like that.
Yeah.
So where villains, even in the comic books, sometimes take a back seat. There are some really good arcs, but when it comes to DC, both movies, comics, and all that, their villains are just as much standouts as their heroes. And between most of these, we just see, again, like the rehashed Joker, freaking Lex Luthor for the 10th time, or another Darkseid. I want to see them a little bit deeper into dig deeper into the whole roster that they have, because they have some really cool, compelling villains that you could do so much with. And I hope that that James Gunn is taking that into account. And again, I'm pretty sure he is, because again, the stuff he learned from Marvel is that he's with Peacemaker and such, he's known for taking these lesser known characters, these D-listers, Z-listers, and kind of elevating them to making them not only compelling but pretty cool, pretty fun to watch. And he is a really good when it comes to characterization and storytelling. That's probably his better strong points. I mean, his script writing sometimes is a little bit on the nose, and it could be hit or miss. But when it comes to characters and story arcs and such like that, I feel like they definitely had the right man for the job in the big chair. But you, Mr. Oyman, since you came back a little later, I didn't get to ask you this question. I asked everyone else. But out of the list that has come out, what is
my top 3?
Yeah, sure, top 3, go for it. But like, what is what caught your eye the most?
What my top 3 I'm looking forward to the most are lanterns, because I love Green Lantern, and if you're doing a series that at least tells me that you'll be able to develop the characters of Jon Stewart and Hal Jordan pretty well. Hopefully we'll get some Guy Gardner. Hopefully we get some, like, I know they said it was a terrestrial series or terrestrial based, whatever the hell that means, because if it was Earth based, they would just say Earth based. So terrestrial based, I don't fucking know what that means.
Yeah, but just talking about that.
Terrestrial is usually like Terra, which is Earth, and they're gonna have Again, they're very vague in
it's
their
gonna be a
wording.
show, so they've got to, they can't spend crazy budget on a space show. But I get it. But I hope they at least have some stuff set in space because it's the fucking Green Lantern Corps. I also hope that we get to see some of the other Lantern Corps, and that's why it's called Lanterns and not Green Lantern.
The Spectrum.
Get some red and yellow lanterns. Yeah, the Spectrum.
Before you move on to the other one, I was actually gonna ask the panel this: why do you think they have the DC has a thing against green or something? Because that Green Arrow show was just called Arrow. Now you have Green Lantern called just Lantern. It's like, are they afraid of the color green?
Hornet movie and the Green Lantern movie, because then you get the word green and it doesn't do fucking bomb. I don't know.
They put Green Lantern, people are going to associate to that terrible last Ryan Reynolds movie. They're just if we don't say green, it'll be fine. It'll be more edgier if we don't add a color.
Hopefully. I mean, Mr. Oyman could attest to it. I tried so hard to like that movie. I tried convincing myself so many times. I never admitted that it was good, but like for many years, he kept bringing it up, and I'd be like, "Well, it could have been worse.
10 minutes of it's okay."
I tried to find the hope.
It could have been worse, but it's not good.
Yeah, but I tried so hard to convince myself, just because that's the only Green Lantern thing, or even the closest thing to like a Nova or Green Lantern that I had. So I was like, I guess I'm forced to kind of like this to a certain extent, but even then, I couldn't lie to myself. It was pretty bad. And
I've got to say, in all honesty,
it was bad. But what are the
biggest piece of dog shit?
But what are your other two, Mr. Oyman?
And then the other two, I'm trying to remember what all was announced. So let's see, there was Booster Gold, there was the Creatures something or other, there was the Themyscira show. Because I know one of the other two were, but I'm trying to remember what the third
Superman
one was.
Legacy, Batman and the Bold, the
Authority.
Is there any other
Authority?
movies?
He said Batman and the Bold.
Swamp Thing.
Brave and the Bold. Sorry.
Yes, that was it. Swamp Thing. Yeah, definitely Swamp Thing, and then Waller. So the reason why I'm looking forward to Waller so much is because it's got the writers from Doom Patrol and Watchmen. And both those shows are some of the best DC's ever done. So, and Viola Davis, she just kicks ass. So I know that the show is in good hands, and I do I have high expectations for that show, and I do think it's going to be a lot better than people are expecting. I know that's probably the one that's lowest on a lot of people's lists because they're like, "Oh, Amanda Waller, who cares?" But I think it's going to be a carryover from Peacemaker, and with those writers from Watchmen and Doom Patrol, I definitely am looking forward to Waller. And then Swamp Thing was the other one.
Okay, that's a good list. Anybody excited for Booster Gold?
No.
Possibly. I got to learn more about it.
You probably know this character well because he kind of appeared in Smallville for like an episode.
Yeah. With Blue Beetle.
I don't like him. I do not like Booster Gold.
Yeah, my wife is
one of my least favorite characters.
He's kind of like the Johnny Cage of the roster of superheroes.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Well said. Yeah, well said.
Yeah.
Well said.
If they do a Booster Gold movie, though, I'm hoping that it's not just
it's a show
making fun of white or a show.
Playing that character.
Chris Pratt.
Chris Pratt.
Oh, jeez. But no, when that
would be perfect for that role, with the arrogant
when my wife saw that, she's like, "Who the fuck asked for this? This nobody fucking wants to see this."
That's why no one. We're not talking about it because no one wants Booster Gold.
If they do them right, they could play off of that dickish, cocky, jackass type feel pretty well.
Peacemaker took the most unlikable character from Suicide Squad and made a great show out of it. So if it's Gunn who's writing Booster Gold, it'll probably
but Booster Gold is just kind of a jackass. He's a
dick
from the future.
Yeah.
So Peacemaker.
I will say though, I like I said, if they do find the right casting and the right writers, they could kind of use that asshole cockiness and kind of flip it and make us maybe not love him, but make us laugh with him. But we'll just have to see how it goes.
Are they trying to turn him into like a Deadpool kind of a guy? That's the thing that I'm saying. Like, is this like, are they trying to do it like that, where they're trying to make him goofy and maybe break the fourth wall again, like that too? Like, I don't know. That shit would be
Oh,
pretty
Jesus
stupid.
Christ.
And even in like Justice League Unlimited, like he was not the best superhero there, and like he ended up like causing something that ended up like him having to fix it. Like it was just stupid as shit. Like it's. I don't know, like I
Oh
don't
yeah,
know why they would like. I
he's
get
a,
it. He's an old classic guy, but like it's not something that I really was looking forward to. I
okay.
was just like,
So I
no.
got a question before we go. Because we are past the, we're almost reaching the 1 hour and 30 mark. But I do have a question, mainly for Davel, but you guys could chime in as well. Um, I know you're a DC guy, but even you saw some of these projects on here, and you're like, "What the hell is that?"
What the
Like,
fuck is that?
they some of
That's
these,
James Gunn.
yeah, the authority. Like, do you think they at least for the first chapter, do you think they're going a little bit too much with some of these lesser known characters, and they're not having some of the bigger guns, or do you think that it's these D-listers are okay to be the majority of the slate? Because I know we know as more avid readers and more avid watchers of the DC stuff, we know stuff like Swamp Thing, we know stuff like Booster Gold, um, maybe a couple characters from the Creature Commandos or even Waller, but for the most part, the general audience, they're gonna be coming into this new universe, and they're just gonna see a bunch of characters that they have no idea who the hell they are. I mean, you go out on the street
Yeah,
and you ask somebody, "Oh,
yeah.
what do you think of Swamp Thing?" They're gonna be like, "What the hell is that? Is that guy that was in Werewolf by Night?" Or so, how do you feel about the slate and the confidence on the mass audience adopting it? Or do you think they're playing a risky game and they're trying to go to like them Eternals it and just throwing it out there and seeing how people react to it?
Oh man, it's really hard to tell just because of um, the amount of the low amount of information we got based off what how many within that 10-year 8-year span period, like how it's
Yeah.
really going to react with the audience. And it's just a matter of waiting until what actors are going to be playing the voices, and then we'll be playing the characters in the films, because like that kind of will affect how the movie or film or
And
animated films will work.
how the
On
first few
top of
turn out too.
Yeah. Well, but like the
yeah,
question
on
is
top
more
of that,
the question is more like, I know that they're trying this
go ahead.
because the time frame doing this now is a lot more forgiving than trying this way back in like 2008, to where you show this and people are lose interest instantly. Nowadays, people are a little bit more accepting of lesser known characters, again, due to Marvel. Marvel, though, didn't start introducing some of their lesser known characters till, let's say, like Guardians in 2014, which was already like 6-7 years into their universe. And yeah, Iron Man, Captain America, like that, technically weren't A-listers like they are nowadays, but they were the big guns that Marvel had available to them. Do you? And that's where my question comes in. Do you think that they should have gone with? Obviously, you got your Batman and your Superman, but do you think that
Mm-hmm.
they're doing the right call and just getting these lesser known characters out of the way, or do you think it would have been smarter to save them for once you have a little bit more of a solid foundation for your new universe in which the audience has accepted this?
Yeah, I agree with you, Shane. I think they should have established a nice, clear, solid foundation with some of the characters we're absolutely familiar with, and sprinkle in maybe like the hint of them, or like credit scenes of them, and then like the next following movies will dive into like either their origins or their character development through a single movie, instead of just dumping like the first unknown characters in there. But he did say that these are all going to be connected, so
Yeah.
somehow they're all going to work out together. I don't know how, but they will.
I mean, they told Wonder Girl, what's her face, the actress, Like if she wants to come back and be like Wonder Woman, like the door's open, but it's up to her though, and they haven't really gone back, from her saying, "Oh yeah, I'll do it," because
That's
like
weird. They need to recast her. I'm sorry. They're
yeah,
gonna get
but
rid of Cavill.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. They want to keep the goddamn Flash, the one nobody wanted.
Yeah.
But yeah,
well,
no.
that's like a reset. That's a reset button, man. Nobody, I get that, but it's not gonna be him later on.
Well, no, but
Like,
that's the
that's
thing.
the-
They're
Ezra's
like
out.
they're
They're not gonna announce that Ezra's out until after his movie.
Okay, that makes sense because the way James Gunn did it when he released this video, he's like, they're trying to better themselves. So we'll have that conversation later. But it's like, bro, we want to hear whether he's in or out now. Like, I know he's gonna be a pivotal point. I know he's gonna be I know he's gonna be a point to reset the universe, but I just want to know if after this gets reset, if like the Flash wakes up and he's like a different person and he's like, "Hey, I look different." I'd fucking take that. Because
I'm gone now.
Yeah.
I'm one person. I'm not them anymore.
Yeah. Well. Oh Jesus. But. Oh man.
There's literally multiple Flashes in that.
Yeah.
Movie, so it's fitting.
Yeah.
Well, I'm just wondering because, like. Yeah, he has his shit on the side, but even then, even since they introduced him, I didn't care about him as the Flash.
Well,
Hey, Texas, so to answer your question, I kind of feel like we already had like the A-listers back, Superman, Wonder Woman, Aquaman, like we had all that. I feel like James Gunn said, okay, we're going to reset the DC. And I feels like us as like comic book lovers, we can go back to these interesting characters and read or like watch some like movies or TV shows associated with the Authority, Creature Commando, especially Swamp Thing. Like, okay, I kind of see like how all these people can come together at some point in time. And so, I mean, I feel like James Gunn is doing the right thing, is introducing us to brand new characters, right? Brand new stories that we had not seen before on screen, a different take on the OGs like Batman and Superman and Supergirl. And we're going to see how all this will kind of play out. So I am looking forward to this whole like brand new slate.
And, like,
yeah, but you said
mentioned that before too.
Yeah, you said, you and Miss Cap have said that you don't have to do the A-listers, but even you just mentioned Supergirl right there. She's not necessarily an A-lister. I would consider her more of a B-lister. And that's where I'm getting
heard about her.
Like, that's what I'm getting at. Like, you, instead of the Authority, you could have had someone like Mr. Oyman said, like a Nightwing in the Teen Titans, or someone that might not be digging back into the A-listers of you could have had these characters that people are
Martian
aware
Manhunter.
of. Yeah, exactly. Like like some of these characters that might not be on the same level as the Holy Trinity of DC, which is Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman. Like, you could have had some of these lesser known characters that are still not the Authority level lesser known, but aren't at the top of their game. Like I said earlier, the analogy was Marvel did turn B and C listers into A listers because that's all they had. And I was kind of hinting at that they don't want to retread on the exact same stories and do the same issues they had 10 years ago with Man of Steel and such, but they do have this broad let's say chest of characters that they could just open up and dig into. And that's what I was kind of trying to get at. I don't know if I made it clear.
I mean, I know.
I get
feel
it.
like, I get it. But also, I feel like, I think James Gunn has a plan. We don't know what his plan is of yet. I mean, I think maybe we can see Martian Manhunter in Lanterns because he is an alien. So we don't know. Like, we can see Nightwing and Batman. We don't know. So maybe we can have these B-list characters in these like TV shows and movies. But as of right now, we can get to see some stories that can be an integral part in what DC has to offer down the road.
Yeah, and I mean, like,
well said,
Miss Cap.
Yeah, no, I was just saying, like, also, I kind of almost maybe like a ploy into getting people to go back and reading comics again, because like you're like the Authority and like the creatures, and you're just like, these, and you're like, well, if I want to know more, I better go look at a storyline that has them in it.
I could see that.
It's going to be like, well, I want to go back to my local comic book store and look at names and get to know these characters so that I can, enjoy them.
Yeah, you did
It's almost
hit
like
you,
kind of back into that. Like you want to, you don't know them, or you may a little bit because maybe you've read a storyline where they're in it at some point, and you're like, oh yeah, I kind of remember. So you go back and get refresh your memory if you're like an old school person who loves all the comics.
I
but
will
obviously,
say
as
you hit
myself who isn't one, it's like it kind of makes me like, all right, I want to go back and I want to read some stuff about them.
Yeah, you did hit the nail right in the head because most of these runs, like it happens with the Marvel movie sometimes too, but DC has actually been a lot more transparent, especially with James Gunn, and they are straight up like telling you it's going to be based off of this, and really inspired off of this, and that
storyline.
and they've been advertising the crap out of those to the point where if you go on Amazon and you try to find a book of like Supergirl, The Authority, or Batman and the Brave and the Bold, you're looking at $120 to $140 for a paperback, which is insane to me. Yeah. No, I mean, I paid similar prices to comic books like that in the past, but they were at least hardcovers, premier editions, like the first editions that ran out of those hardcovers. But for a paperback to be that price, it's pretty ridiculous. But it shows that they are steering people in, like Miss Cap said, in the right direction of like, hey, look at these. These are what we're using. Go find them and go learn up on these. You got years before some of these even make it on screen. So brush up on them. And that's a very good point you brought up, Miss Cap.
Yeah.
I did want to touch on your question real quick. So as far as like them, focusing on a bunch of unknown characters and whatnot. I mean, if the writing is good, if the casting's good, all of that, it'll be fine. But my, I guess, biggest concern, or I guess thing we'll have to wait and see about, is so Marvel has recently been, integrating their shows with their movies, so that way it's not like you have to see the shows to get what's going on in the movies, but for the most part, you kind of do. But they've at least already established their brand, so people joining in can easily, kind of adopt. I mean, I think with DC, they're starting off with this is all a shared universe now of movies and shows right off the bat. And you're going to have PG-13 movies and R-rated movies and R-rated shows and PG-13 shows. That, I think, is it's interesting, but so far the DCEU has had a couple of R-rated and PG-13 mixed in, and none of them have done all that well. So that's kind of where I'll be curious to see how audiences respond to that, because if DC really is going for more of an adult thing, there will probably be a market for it, but is it going to be anywhere near as big as it was if they kept it family friendly like Marvel's doing? That's hard to say.
Hey guys, I have to get off now.
Yeah, well, we were actually, that was the last question there. That was a pretty good insight. But we'll go ahead and let you go in. What's up? Yeah. Let me just say bye to Davel real quick. All right, thanks for stopping by, Davel. Glad that you could make it in. Definitely
live
brought
long
up
and prosper.
Hey, that's our trick. All right, take care, man. So what were you gonna say, Mr. Joestar?
So, I wanted to ease something off, from what you guys were talking about earlier. Man, you guys keep on going with the conversation. I was just damn, I was trying to throw it in there. I was trying to throw it in there before it moved on. But, the whole thing about The Flash, I know some of you guys, didn't watch the series. Cap, I think you're one of the one that did from the CW. But that was the thing is if you were to actually watch that series, at some point when he created a Flashpoint, he didn't wake up in a different body. He was the same person, but unfortunately, he was not at Flash. So, he wasn't that universe's Flash anymore.
Oh,
it was Wally West.
Oh, no, I was going to say, wasn't that the second season? But no, that was the fourth.
It was season 4.
Yeah.
When he created the Flashpoint. Season 4.
I did make
that right there.
That far. That's around the time I actually stopped, though.
3 or 4.
Yeah, and that right there, it kind of shows you, they could possibly do something like that with this, where maybe he does create a Flashpoint and he is no longer the Flash, and somebody else is.
Oh, if they're skipping straight to
Get
Damian,
Wally. If we
please
get
give me Wally.
freaking Wally.
Please give me Wally.
Yeah.
He is.
Yeah, and that's the
He's
thing
so
is it's
happy.
like, I mean, like that could be a big possibility because of the fact that, I mean, they're already saying goodbye to him as the actor. Like, I mean, they could introduce somebody completely new, and then they could be like, well, who are you? And then they could just be like, oh, well, I'm Wally West, you know, and then that could be the end of it. You know what I'm saying? Like, so it gives me hope for this Flash movie because, like,
Don't get my hopes
it's
up,
a
please.
reset. Yeah, I mean, like, yeah, I know, like, dude, believe me, like, it's gonna be a big downer if like they just like do what you guys said, literally, like he just wakes up and he's like a different fucking body. Like, kind of stupid shit is that?
Nah.
But if they actually like make it and mold it to something like where they actually, you know, do like the torch, they hand off the torch to somebody else right then and there, then perfectly fine. I mean, it's just like you're no longer this universe's Flash. Like, I'm Flash and my name is Wally West, and like, you know, I think at that point people would go absolute berserk because that would save the whole Flashpoint, and then they could be like, well, now he's gonna go to his Flashpoint because he has to go back to, you know what I'm saying? Like, there's like so much shit that you could do because that's whole interdimensional time and space. Yeah, like that's like its own separate storyline. So like you could literally do whatever it is that you want, but I just hope that they do it well like that. And yeah, here's to hoping like we get a Wally West, man. That would be pretty cool.
Yeah, no. Anybody else want to give one last final thought before we close out the episode?
No? Yes, no.
I'm back.
Oh, okay. Any final thoughts, Mr. Oidman?
No.
Okay, so that was short and sweet as usual. All right, so yeah, so I feel like.
Oh wait.
What?
Hold on. Final thoughts. I was gonna say, did you guys talk about Last of Us already? Did I miss that? Or is that?
Oh, we actually didn't. Actually, we did it.
We can push it to next week. We got a new episode on Friday.
Yeah, I was about to say there's a new episode on
I
Friday.
haven't seen it. I haven't been seeing it because I've been trying to. I was gonna try to binge watch it with my dad because he's really into it, and I was just like, well,
watch
it with him.
There's a new episode on Friday, so this weekend, if you go on like Saturday or even Sunday, there should be a total of like 3 episodes for you to watch, Mr. Joe Star.
Yep.
So go ahead and watch those. We'll do a 2-for-1 next week. I was gonna put it on here, but I knew that the DC topic. This is something that we've all been kind of looking forward to being revealed and to give pick each other's brains at. So I decided to give it just the spotlight and just kind of have that be the whole episode for today. And I'm glad I got a lot of insight from you guys. Hell, some of those stuff like the Batman being a TV show and all that, I just came to me while talking to you guys about this and kind of taking in your feedback. So that way I started bouncing off ideas, and then just the amazing idea that Wally West being the primary Flash from Mr. Joe Star, stuff like that, and our predictions for like Swamp
But you bummed
Thing.
me out though.
You
bummed me the fuck out when you said that, though.
I bummed myself out,
like,
though, man. As I kept talking, I'm like, that would be a good idea.
Yeah, that would be a great idea. And I was just sitting here like, fuck, that's right. Well, they won't do a Red Hood thing. Like, I was really hoping for something like that. And I was like, damn, what the fuck are they gonna do? Oh man, that really bums me out.
But no, I did love the conversations we have though today, because it was a lot of cool ideas. It was nice to see this timeline that they were pretty vague on the details, but gave us just enough to kind of start conjuring up plans, and each one of our plans was like going on a similar track. But I like how we all had different things going on. With that being said, though, if you haven't already and you're new here, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button. Follow us on Twitter at Crusader Screen, and just keep on chatting with us. Bring in some friends and family. Just kind of have them in the chat. But I appreciate everyone that stopped in to listen, and of course, I appreciate the wonderful panel, Mr. Johnny Joe Star, Ms. JT. as always, Miss Cap, I'm so glad you were able to make it to this episode. We really did miss you last week. It was a great episode, but I feel like you would have brought some character that wasn't there. And
unknown game character in there.
but I feel like you would have found a way. I feel like, especially with watching a bunch of movies with JT, I'm pretty sure he's dragged you to some pretty stinkers when it came to video game movies. With that being said, though, I also want to thank, of course, Mr. Oyman, you, my co-host, for being able to come in, even though I know you had a busy schedule today. I'm so glad you were able to stop by for the majority of the episode. We only lost you for about little under half an hour, would be my guess.
Yeah.
But thanks, all of y'all, for stopping in and spending another fantastic week over here on the Screen Crusader podcast. And of course, like I mentioned a second ago, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button if you haven't. And y'all have a wonderful weekend.
You know how much I sacrificed?